Welcome everyone to the MSL Code Silver Division. Code Silver Division. That seems a little bit redundant. Regardless, we are here at the Protoss campfire on Derelict Watcher. I say that because does that not look like what the Protoss would use to roast some marshmallows? Let me check it out. It's all science fiction-y looking. And epic. Regardless, we are here in game number 2 of the Grand Finals for the Silver Division. We have down here in the bottom left-hand corner the player that won the previous series between these two players, the pink Protoss, Glenn. Check out Glenn warping in buildings from other planets. That's brilliant. I like that. In fact, that's one of the things that most people that play for Protoss for the first time really appreciate coming from Terran. They can build something and then leave and it builds itself. But in direct opposition to that, we have in the top right-hand corner of the map the winner of the first game of this series. We have the green Zerg player, Bean. I almost called you MSL Bean, but you are instead Easy Street, which unironically is actually the name of the road next to where I live. I graduated from college and moved quite literally to Easy Street, and I love saying that because everyone should love saying that. So Bean's cruising around with his really super ugly overlords. Check those things out. Those are extra ugly compared to normal. They've got like tentacles and crap. Super nasty. So it looks like we have instead from is Glenn. So Glenn is actually setting up to do something different than what he's done before. Most of the games that we've seen out of Glenn so far have been Forge Fast Expands. So far, no Fast Expand. Is he going to do it? He's saving up a lot of money. He's just going straight up. He's going Nexus first. You hear that? Actual clapping. Love it. Gonna throw down a pylon. For these wider ramps, you know, Glenn, it's one of the things I've been watching you kind of struggle with, is trying to figure out where to put your pylons so then you can get your buildings. Like the last one, we had 2 pylons kind of right next to each other. If you build one pylon to the side and do 2 buildings, and then do another pylon here and another building, the gaps are easier to manage and everything is covered in psi, and I don't think that's a wall. Yeah, that's totally not a wall. Is he going to cancel that? Okay, maybe that's just going to be where he's going to block it off. That's all good. The third base. 3 hatch. We do have the pool going down, so it looks like it was actually 3 hatch before pool. That's quite brazen. And if you don't know what that means, you should look it up. I don't know why I'm saying that. Most of you should all be pretty familiar with the English language. If not, you join the rest of the world and most of America. I don't say that I have the greatest command of it, but I feel like that's a normal word. Anyway, so we do have the Forge down, we have the Nexus done, we have more probes being produced. Keeping the chrono boost low, there's a little bit more than he needs right now, but he's been continually chrono boosting workers. That's exactly what you want to be able to keep up with this 3 basing Zerg. There is a gateway done, there should be another gateway. Yes, okay. Oh, you did finish up that wall, and now we got this awkward area. You could put a pylon here. That'll work. We could do that. Okay, where's the cybernetics core? So he's going to throw down some gas, because the cyber core, while you don't have any gas, you don't need any gas to start it. Just the units that you produce from it, you need gas. Double gas going down for Bean. Looks like Bean might be wanting to start teching up here pretty quick, as he is now up to that kind of 30 range. There's a build that was really popular in Wings of Liberty for a while that was based on a player named Spanishua. His main thing was basically drone until... So it was a fast expand build, like almost every Zerg build. And you drone until roughly 34 or 32 to 36, somewhere in that range. Then you throw down double gas, and sometimes even quadruple gas, and then you go ahead and start teching. And you use purely lings and queens for defense. You don't try to do anything with roaches at all. We do have all the gas geysers going down for Glenn. Go ahead and filling up all of those. Excellent work there. Could use some additional workers there, but I think that'll happen eventually. Decent positioning on the cannons. I really like the placement of this cannon. It's far enough back that it's hard for lots of units to crouch around and get damage on it, but it's far enough forward that it can hit those roaches that are shooting up here or shooting over here. This cannon, don't like as much. Like I said, if you shifted all these buildings over one, you'd have enough space for a gateway and then one gap for one zealot. This still works, there's just less overall hit points in the wall. So it's not a big deal. Also, macro hatchery, that's an important thing to note. There is a roach warren, we do have the lair coming up, and there is speed being researched. But I don't see... We have a spine crawler going out. He's actually feeling a little bit nervous. Because look at this, there's actually... No, there are now units coming out before then, though. That was that little window of opportunity. You can go when the Zerg has actually invested so much into droning. They're actually... It's called powering drones. When they don't have any actual fighting units. If you take this mothership core, or this theoretical mothership core that doesn't yet exist, apparently. No, where is it? Oh, it's hiding. I just have eyes that fail at seeing. You take this mothership core and these two zealots, and you run across the map. And then, all of a sudden, they have to build units that aren't drones. You might get some kills, and if you get totally surrounded and are going to totally get pwned, just recall for the win. That's actually why Forge Fast expands have become much less popular, because Gateway expands give you the same amount of protection now that you have Photon Overcharge, but you also have the ability to put on a little bit of pressure. A big swell of roaches coming out from Bean, and it looks like he's just about ready to be aggressive, although these are going to be slow roaches, and I'm a little bit confused because he's also still droning. Generally with Zerg, you're going to max out, you're going to keep droning until you don't have to drone, or you shouldn't drone anymore because you have like 100 of them, and then you pump out all the other units, kind of all at once. So we'll see what's going on there. We do still see Chrono Boost being pretty low, excellent job there. We did see the Stargate, it is still making Phoenixes, so Phoenixes, the Phoenix opening is good. The Phoenix are a good unit. The Phoenix are also very good against mutas, especially if you get the Fleet Beacon, which we don't have yet. Ooh, is he going to see? I don't think he's going to see. He's not. Oh, he does scout. Oh man, he's going to know exactly what's going on. So Phoenixes, with the range upgrade, can kite mutas and kill mutas all day long, and so the thing about Starcraft is when you get the air advantage, if you keep it, well, if you have it at one point, it's so much easier to keep it, unless you have a terrible mistake. So these Phoenixes, one of the things that they assume that you're doing with Phoenixes is generally that you're harassing with them, which he will get a couple kills done. He should be just cleaning up Overlords. Pick up that Queen. The Queen's the high-value target right now. Pick up, there you go. You should just need one lift with this many Phoenixes, but these Spore Crawlers will finish up here pretty soon. I could have gotten a few free drone kills. There. Gonna get a couple. Ooh, there's too many queens there. Needs to find something else. Ooh, does not lose that queen, or that phoenix, but he will lose it here. Or maybe not, they all target fire the wrong thing. Whew. So these Phoenix is doing a decent job, he's getting some kills. Workers killed, 3. Yeah, excellent. Gotta keep making those pay for themselves. And as long as you control them correctly... Oh, painful. I would actually say that's not the ideal control that we're seeing right there. But it has served another purpose. It is keeping his opponent a little bit off guard. He's got to be worrying about what in the heck those are doing. But I would say generally Phoenix openings are a little bit like Hellion openings. You should just go for that. You should just go kill that Overlord. It'll supply block him. You want to... Yeah, there you go. Go back. Go this way. Oh, Glenn. You knew where one was. You should go take it. It'll limit the vision and limit the supply. I love Overlord hunting. It's like super effective. So the Phoenixes, looks like they are no longer being produced. So he's not going to use them in a direct engagement. Most likely, unless a whole bunch of mutas come out. We do have the Spire. Not the Spire. We have the Infestation Pit this time, and the Hydralisk Den. The Hydralisk Den is probably a knee-jerk reaction to the Phoenixes, and seeing that his opponent is going for a little bit of Sky. When I say Sky, I mean air, and when I say that, I mean Sky Toss. Because Sky Toss is scary. Phoenixing players can be quite annoying, but it does take a lot of that APM in continuous control, and in my opinion, it's not worth it unless you actually have that APM to spare. Because you don't want to do really well with harassing those and then have this come and attack you when you haven't been building units at home. And looks like Glenn has been doing a pretty good job of that. He's a little bit supply blocked. He also has a huge bank. I could be spending a little bit more aggressively. If I had actually one thing to say, Glenn, about the games that I've seen from you so far, is that you seem a little bit reluctant to expand. Usually you want that third base down by 10 to 12, 13 minutes. Just start picking up units. Start getting free kills. Nope. Okay, that's fine. Just keep flying. Flying is fun too. He's going to get a proxy. This time I'm going to see it. Yes, go me. So, still getting some Void Rays, no Chrono Boost going into that. We have Charge being researched. We have too many probes and not enough probes, so some balancing could be done there. We have a Mothership Core with full energy. That's a little bit of a blunder. Not a blunder. It's an opportunity, because energy only regens until it hits 200. So, you could be spending these things, like Photon Overcharge and Time Warp. You know, even if you just flew around to the side back here and you put a Time Warp right here, you've reduced their income, and then you can just fly away. Because there's absolutely nothing that could shoot you down except for these slow Hydras. And you are fast enough to run from those. Or you could simply recall. So that's something that you can do to kind of optimize that. Whenever it gets close to that max, go ahead and get out. Oh, the Archon can't join the fun. Oh, yeah. Destroy that thing. That cannon was a jerk. Checking to make sure there's no base there. He is completely maxed at 16 minutes. Not quite as impressive as Stefano at 11:53, but, you know, I'll give you that. That's fine. This is the real advantage that you get with these 3 base openings and also this macro hatch. That's really helping out quite a lot. We have Muscular Augments now finishing up. That means those Hydras will no longer be as slow as dirt. Instead, they'll just be like a normal unit, which is great. We have the Observer here keeping an eye on all the things, but I'm worried about what's going to happen now. There's still not much splash damage. There is an Archon, and there are some Zerglings that are way ahead of the rest of the army. If those Zerglings gets cleaned up, react! You can clean up those Zerglings before the rest of the army gets there. That actually is a huge deal, and also you'd much rather fight on this ramp. Yeah, go ahead and take out the Zerglings. That's a great news. That cannon should just be gobbled up. Yeah, check this out. Good job, cannon. Taking some damage, allowing better engagements. Great storm, loving it. Okay, the charge lots using those leg speeds. The force fields there are actually not ideal. They do okay. I'd rather see the Guardian Shield, though, I think. There's also still more force field energy. And the Void Rays do great against the other things, but it looks like instead the maxed army from Bean is just going to be a little bit too much. A whole bunch of these Zealots are going to get a lot of damage done, but in the end, there's still a lot back there. He needs to warp in, back home. We do have some additional units, so he should lose this, but if he macros back up... Are they all on cooldown? Yes, where's he warping him in at? Let's go warp him in up here. A whole bunch of Zealots. Not my... probably would have tried to make some Archons. These will all be nommed on by the Hydras. There's just too much DPS in those units. So they do get a couple. And that's not as scary looking anymore, but the problem is behind this, there's more units. Or there should be more units. Not as many larvae as there could be. Okay, 28, so it's not bad. Getting some upgrades going on. It looks like he's mostly just throwing away these units, but look at all the Lings. The Lings are always in your main. Or natural, or whichever. So good game. Bean going ahead and taking it to Glenn, going up to 2-0 in this matchup. And we're going to see what Glenn can do to bring himself back into this. But in this game, I still think overall, very good games out of both of these players. Glenn, you have good engagements, but generally when you're playing Zerg, or against anyone, Protoss needs splash damage in the late game. They just need it. You've been going with Storm. Storm is decent, but generally you need at least 2, so Storm and Archon, Storm and Colossi, something like that. Or Archons and Colossi, some sort of splash damage, because that last fight was actually pretty close. And also the force fields, The force fields were decent. You did split the army in half, but the army that was behind it was still in range of the units that were in front of it. So you either need to push that force field farther back to push those last ones farther back and capture most of the army, or push them a little bit farther forward so then you get that first little group and then you can pull back. And then those other ones are kind of forced to, kind of come all the way around the side where you can re-engage in a choke point or something like that, and storm or use colossi, things like that. But great job being maxed out at 16 minutes. That's quite good. So anyways, we'll be back in a second.